Hey everyone, just want to show you a quick video here about how to take a look at how the waiver wire rules are going to go for this season. I know last year there were some questions about it. We really haven't changed anything up for this year, but I do want to take an opportunity to kind of go over the league calendar, where to find the league calendar, what everything means on it, and just explain to anybody that's new kind of what everything means, what blind bid waivers are, what waiver request is, and what first come, first serve waivers looks like. So let's just take a look here at the website, and I'm just going to start us off at the home page. What we're going to do is, this is what it looks like when you sign into your fantasy football account. Jared McAndrews did a good job of making it very mobile friendly, so it looks very similar on a phone. You're going to scroll down, and what we've done is we've actually put an icon right here that says League Calendar. In years past, I know it's been a little more difficult to find. We've really tried to simplify things and put only the most important stuff on the page for you guys. So click the League Calendar, and here we have a breakdown of how the waiver rules look. It's a calendar. It'll take you month through month all the way to the end of the season. So let's just take a look at the top here. One thing to note, the waiver wire will begin the week following the draft. So our draft is August 27th. That Tuesday following our draft, we will start with the waiver wire. I know it doesn't show that on here, and that's just for the purpose of doing a quick tutorial, but that will be set up following the draft. So let's just take a look here. So what we have going on is we're going to take a look really at following week 1, because everything is set up around the NFL schedule and how we can do things to allow people to acquire players in the time when NFL games are not taking place. So week 1 will be the beginning week of football games, and then following the last Monday night game, which there's 2 on the first week, starting at 7 a.m. on Tuesday, we have the first blind bidding waiver period. And that's going to run from 7 a.m. Tuesday, and if you look over here at Wednesday, it runs till 7:45 p.m. on Wednesday. So we give you a little over 36 hours to really put in blind bid waivers. What this is a period of time where if there is a free agent player that you want, you can go ahead and put a bid on that player and go ahead and obtain that player through bidding. What we use to bid on them is a fake currency. We give everybody $100 of fake currency to bid on these players. So find out where you can see how much money you have. Is what you'll do is you'll go back to the main page simply by clicking on the Championship Fantasy Football logo. You're going to scroll down, and if you look here in this column, what we have is the blind bid balance. And everyone starts the year with $100. As you spend money throughout the year, it will tell you how much money you have left. But to start off, everyone has $100. So that's where you look at that. If you click on the league calendar again, we'll go back. You have the 36-hour period to go ahead and put in your blind bid waivers. And after that, at 7:45, if you have the highest bid, you will be awarded that player. Now, there is strategy in that. Obviously, if you can get a player for a cheaper price, you're going to want to do that, but you don't want to risk not getting the player you want. So there is strategy involved there. That's up to each owner what strategy they use, what player they feel they want to spend more money on. But this is what makes it really exciting and interesting throughout the week. When games aren't going on, when you're trying to fill holes in your lineup, you can go get the guy you want if you're willing to pay for him. One side note, because 2 players may bid the same amount of money, and I'm just going to bring this back, one of the things we did have to enforce is how we decide who gets the player if they both bid the same amount. And it's really simple in our league. It's whoever submitted the bid earliest. So let's say that you bid $30 at 7:01 a.m. Tuesday, and somebody else put a late second bid for $30. The person who put the bid in at 7:01 on Tuesday would get that bid. Okay, so fairly simple. So going back here, just taking a look, after that 7:45 blind bidding period begins our waiver request period. Now, this is a kind of an interesting and important thing to understand, because this is going to be the last waiver period before a Thursday night game. Okay, so if you look at this, the waiver opens up at 8 p.m. on Wednesday and ends at 7 p.m. Thursday, which with the 8 o'clock game taking place at 8 o'clock Thursday night. So with the other game taking place, with the NFL game taking place at 8 o'clock, we want to make sure that people have an opportunity to get a player, and if they choose not to have blind bids be the way they get their players, and if, let's say, they're out of money, they have to have an opportunity to get players. So this is why we use the waiver request period. One of the interesting things about the waiver request period is that this isn't first come, first serve, so if you want a player, you get the player. The way that this works is that if you want a player, there is an order in which teams will get awarded players. And it's very simple. The number one team to get awarded players, it's based off last year's finishing order to start this season. And that will be, this year I believe it's Team Dirty Bit who will have number one priority, and it will work its way down to Team Piranha, who was the league champion last year. Now, as the season goes on, let's say that Team Dirty Bit gets a player of their choosing from this waiver priority. He will then go to very last place in the priority, and everybody will bump up. And so you just really want to keep an eye on how that works out. We'll make sure that we have some way to keep track of that throughout the season. But essentially, how it works is everyone will put in a request. If nobody else puts in a request for the player, you obviously will get the player. If one or two people put in a request, it's going to be the highest person in that order that gets it. Again, it's all established around the NFL schedule. This will end at 7 p.m. If you get a player that's awarded to you, you want to play them in the Thursday night game, you're free to be able to do that. And we just want to make sure that our waiver periods always work around giving you an opportunity to get a player for a potential playing of a game. So then we have our next period. So that waiver request ends at 7 p.m. and then the game takes place on Thursday night. And then after the game at 12 a.m., we open up the waiver request again. And so from 12 a.m. till 11:45 p.m. on Saturday will be another period of waiver requests. Again, going off the priority, whoever is top of the list will get first priority. And finally, starting at 12 a.m. Sunday, so again, Sunday, our biggest bulk of games during the NFL week, is now the beginning of what we call first come, first serve waivers. This is important to take note of this year. So just want to go through this real quick. Last year, if you dropped a player on Sunday and somebody else wanted to pick that player up the same day, you could. This year, that is changing. If somebody drops a player on Sunday during first come, first serve, the player will be locked until the start of the waiver period for the next week. So what does that mean? It means if I have Tom Brady and I want to drop Tom Brady this week, for whatever reason, let's say I have 3 good quarterbacks, Tom Brady's suspended for the first 4 games, I'm going to drop him, then Tom Brady will not be available until the blind bid waivers come around on Tuesday. Last year we had it where you could pick up Tom Brady immediately and put him on your team. That is no longer the case for this season. So just wanted to go through that with everybody. That is one of the changes we made for this season because we want to give everybody ample opportunity and a fair shot at getting players after they get dropped. It shouldn't just be fair for people who may have more time or who are constantly on the league site kind of prowling the free agency market. So just wanted to go through that. Again, first come, first serve waivers are just exactly how it sounds. If you come and you see a player and you want them during this period, you click the add button, they're going to be added to your team and you'll be able to play them for that slate of Sunday games. So first come, first serve waivers, and actually I'm just going to have to adjust this for the season. This is one good thing about doing the tutorial. First come, first serve waivers should actually end at 12:45 p.m. So 15 minutes prior to kickoff, first come, first serve waivers will end. This is the point where you will not be able to add any more players to your team for Sunday. This is important for people who do have 4 o'clock games and players playing who might be on the injury list. I urge you to take advantage of first come, first serve waivers up until 12:45. At that point in time, you may not be able to grab another player to fill in for a 4 o'clock game if you have a player who's injured. So that is just one thing of note for those of you who have 4 o'clock games. So that is it for this tutorial. I think we've gone through everything. Again, come back to this calendar and take a look at it frequently. things do get confusing, and I realize that, but I do think this gives you an opportunity to be strategic in how you use your blind bid money, how you use your waiver priority, and finally, are you willing to wait till first come, first serve waivers come around to pick up that player, or do you need to take some action prior to that time? So again, thanks a lot for taking a look at this video. I hope it's helpful. Again, if you have questions, you know where to get back to me.